Good morning, Mr. Finger. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's Mr. Finger from Commission. I can hear you.
Hi, good morning. It's Gershwin Dixon. It's a pleasure to meet you. I would like to
How are you?
give...
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead. I would
No,
like
no,
to
it's
give...
fine.
Sorry, I would like to give you co-host rights. I'm not sure who will be presenting from the Magistrates Commission.
That will be Advocate Manaka.
Great. I will give her the co-hosting rights, and then she will be able to present from her side.
Yes.
And she's able to test if she wants. I will just stop sharing from my side.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy the
Thank
meeting.
you. Thank you, sir.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, honourable members. I think it's 10 o'clock. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you to this meeting. Just in terms of attendance, would go through the list. We have Honourable Maleka, Honourable Mikolakis, Honourable Bartlett, Honourable Ndongeni, Honourable Badenhorst, Honourable Mikolakis. Okay, I hope I haven't missed any other honourable members. Let me welcome you once again, Honourable Bartlett. Yes, welcome, honourable members. Just in terms of today's proceedings, we are expected to receive a briefing on various matters related to magistrates. The notice of the meeting was sent to honourable members and the relevant documentation in that regard. I also want to maybe take this opportunity as well to welcome, I think it's Advocate Naomi Manaka to the meeting. She was appointed as the chairperson of the ethics committee, and I think this is her first appearance before the select committee on security and justice on these matters. She'll indicate if she's accompanied by anyone else on the platform. But then, honourable members, let me welcome the Advocate Manaka. And just in terms of today's meeting, like I said, we'll get a briefing on various reports related to suspensions or removal from office, provisional suspensions, and as well as one upliftment of suspension. The details of these matters concern matters related to misconduct and or ill health magistrates. The Commission will, as I've said, give a presentation related to the nature and timeline of each matter of the benefit, this for the benefit of members of the committee and for our deliberation. And I think the other bit of the agenda relates to where the committee will also provide us with a progress report on some matters. Members, as you're aware, the our role as a committee is to consider these reports and to make a decision in terms of the Magistrates Court Act 90 of 1993 in respect of the following as it relates to various reports of the Commission. This is in respect of provisional suspensions. This is in terms of Section 13, subclause 3C and D of the Act, where, and in relation to this, Parliament must, as soon as is reasonably possible, pass a resolution as to whether or not the provisional suspension of the relevant magistrate is confirmed. And if Parliament passes a resolution that the provisional suspension is not confirmed, the suspension lapses. With reference to suspension or removal, this is in terms of Section 13, subclause 4C and D of the Magistrates Act. Once again, Parliament must, as soon as is reasonably possible, pass a resolution as to whether or not the restoration to office of the relevant magistrate is recommended. And if Parliament passes a resolution not to restore the magistrate, then he or she may be removed from the office by the Justice Minister. The matter relates to the upliftment of suspension. This is in terms of Section 13, sub 3G of the Magistrates Act, which provides that Parliament may, at any stage pending the conclusion of a misconduct inquiry, pass a resolution setting aside the suspension of the magistrate concerned, whereupon the suspension shall lapse forthwith. I'm just going through this, honourable members, also because we do have new members of the committee that joined us prior to and post to the last briefing that we received from the Magistrates Commission, and members will also note that that has been some time ago. Let me then welcome Advocate Manaka then to take the platform. Advocate, I would propose that a list of the magistrates' issues, the magistrates' matters that we would want that will refer to the committee, and if you could go in that order if preferable. But what I would propose, just so that we can do justice to all the matters, is that we'll deal with each matter and then have members will then engage with the presentation on the matter, and obviously we'll then get you to respond, and thereafter you can go to the next matter. Let me then hand over to yourself, Advocate Manaka. Just maybe if there are any other members that are with you on the platform, please indicate that, and then to take us through. Advocate. Oh, okay. I see the Secretary of. Okay, now I also see the Secretary of the Magistrates Commission is also on the platform. Let me just welcome the Secretary as well, but also to indicate that it's the first as well to this committee with the Secretary of the Magistrates Commission has joined us in the meeting, but welcome. Once again, over to you, Advocate Manaka.
Hi, good morning, Chair and honorable members. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to present the matters before yourselves and to seek leave that you assist us in endorsing the recommendations that have been made. I am indeed with Mr. Justice Finger, who is the Secretary of the Commission. He will be assisting me, though we're not sitting in the same places. Honorable Chair and members, before I make a presentation, I just want to observe that I am not in my office because I'm on holiday. So I've asked an office somewhere and I've connected on my network. So if I have any network challenges, kindly bear with me, but I hope that I won't have any glitches. If I may be permitted to start with the business of the day and present the first matter with your permission, Chair.
Please continue, Advocate. We in your hands.
Thank you, Chair. The first matter which is on the agenda for consideration is the matter of Mr. Raath. Mr. Raath has been found guilty of misconduct And the allegations against Mr. Raath were that he was running a Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme as we know it, in that he invited people to invest in a scheme with a promise that there will be growth in their money. And Mr. Raath, then there were no returns and all the people lost their monies. The person in whose account Mr. Raath, or the person who was working alongside Mr. Raath, was a public person, and he was subsequently charged with a criminal offense, which Mr. Raath does not dispute. Mr. Raath was found guilty because he has abused his office, and the complainants in the matter said, had he not been a magistrate and had they not believed in his office, they would not have invested the monies that they have invested in the scheme. And accordingly, Mr. Raath was then found guilty of several counts of misconduct based on that. And the chairperson of the presiding officer, rather, in the misconduct hearing recommended that Mr. Raath be removed from office. The recommendation was placed before the commission, and the commission indeed agreed with the recommendation. And we are before the committee that the recommendation to remove Mr. Raath from office should be approved. Chairperson, you have earlier on read the provision of the Act insofar as acting swiftly is concerned. I do, and the commission, the entire commission rather, including us who are the Ethics Committee, recognize and appreciate the delay in this matter since Mr. Raath was found guilty in 2021 and the recommendation was made in 2021, and a period of about 2 to 3 years has lapsed since the recommendation or the finding has been made before the matter is placed before this commission and this committee. And we have realized our mistakes in terms of dealing with matters swiftly, and we are working on it, and we have made some progress. Accordingly, we move that the please consider the recommendation and approve it that Mr. Raath should be removed from office. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Advocate, for the presentation. Let me then hand over to honourable members. Are there any questions you might have for clarity from Advocate Manaka on that presentation on Magistrate Raath? Any honourable member would want to engage in that? Okay. All right. Maybe then just from my side, I think you tried to cover me to some extent, Advocate Manaka, especially with regard to the fact that you are in agreement that some matters are not dealt with swiftly. Obviously, in this specific matter, Magistrate Raath was charged on the 23rd of July, but the misconduct inquiry only commenced 2 years and 8 months later. And the second issue I think you dealt with now was with the fact that there was a delay by the Commission of nearly 2 years between the recommendation by the presiding officer in November 2021 and then the Commission's letter to the Minister dated 14th of September 2023. And obviously, I mean, this kind of delays, I would imagine, unacceptable. And I think also in our previous engagements with the Commission, there's always been certain delays, but obviously for various reasons. But also notwithstanding the fact that I don't think it's only this matter where there's delay. I guess all the other matters that you're going to present to us are going to also speak to this kind of delay. But obviously, I know that you are new in this position, etc. But obviously, we would want to, like you said, you would want to swiftly deal with these matters, and that you've made some progress on this. But perhaps maybe you can elaborate on that as well as we go further, also into the other matters. But you can try and indicate in terms of what improvements are being implemented to ensure especially when matters are within your own hands and not necessarily. I know we've dealt with cases of magistrates where they use the law, to delay certain matters, but obviously there are other processes which are within your hands, especially also in relation to the kind of capacity that you would have within the ethics committee to then deal with these matters. Perhaps if you could respond to that. Thanks, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. It is indeed concerning, and there is no way we would be able to justify a delay of 2 years in dealing with the matter. And you are correct that it is and was unacceptable. And one of the reasons that you have mentioned, which indeed is a fact, was the issue of capacity. As indicated in my previous appearance with another committee, the commission first was running without a secretary, and the acting secretary of the commission was also the secretary of the ethics committee. So he had to do work for both all the other committees as well as our committee. We have also seen a vast increase in the number of matters that are reported with the ethics committee. Perhaps it's a positive because maybe the public out there starts to believe in the work of the commission due to the manner in which we are now handling the matters. The improvement that we have made is to set up measures, or to put measures in place in terms of which we're channeling complaints, we're prioritizing complaints, and we're dealing with those complaints. And even when matters are not within our control, and inter alia that they are before the disciplinary or misconduct has already commenced, we also have now taken charge of it in order of following up and getting constant reports from the persons leading evidence, because our view is that we are the client in those particular matters and we are entitled to reports, but also we are entitled to put pressure on the PLEs, that is persons leading evidence, to speed up matters. When I'm talking about prioritizing matters, I'm talking about matters which involve matters of sexual nature, matters which involve ill health, and matters which generally involve magistrates who are not performing, and as thus are affecting the productivity of the magistrates' court as we should be. So we have also recently started with a standard. We compiled a standard operating procedure of dealing with matters and also allocating different roles to different role players. And we have meetings, frequent meetings. When I started as a chair, we started what we call a cleanup campaign. And in the cleanup campaign, we hold a meeting for 2 or 3 days. We book in a hotel. We take all matters which we think will be able to dispose of, and we deal with it working from whatever time till very late in the night. And those have proven to yield positive results. As the ethics committee, we have also decided to hold meetings monthly, which we've succeeded in doing. And in fact, in the recent past, we have had meetings every week, at least until end of March, thereabouts, where we sit for about 2 to 3 hours to expedite, particularly the approval of charge sheets, to work out those charges and to ensure that EXCO can be able to approve the charge sheets and the chairperson can sign them as soon as it is reasonably possible. And in the recent past, we have had good results. There are about probably 10 charge sheets that we have dealt with in the last 2 months. And that will go from the period of making a recommendation, sitting in the meeting, and approving as the committee, sending it to EXCO, and EXCO signing those matters. I've also, myself and the secretary have also created a database of magistrates who will be appointed as PLEs, that is persons leading evidence, as well as POs, depending on the veracity of the matter. So we sit, at least when there are these charge sheets, we have a call, we decide who should be allocated. Thereafter, we place it before the ethics committee. Once it is approved by the ethics committee, EXCO is placed before EXCO. Once EXCO is approved, the persons are appointed. So we are really making strides, and we are working tirelessly. And I must say that the support that I get as the chairperson of the ethics committee from members of the committee itself is incredible, considering that most of them are also practitioners and that they do this really as part of their pro bono work. So we are hard at work, and members of the ethics division are also hard at work. I know they do work on Sundays as well sometimes in order to push matters. So we are concerned, and we really want to bring back the integrity of the commission and work as fast as possible. There are quite a number of other issues and improvements. For example, there's a matter where a magistrate was between the period of charging the magistrate and the commencement of the misconduct, it took less than 2 months, and that misconduct is underway and is about to be concluded. So we're monitoring it very, very closely, Chair, and members of the honorable members. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Advocate Manaka. I don't see any other hand raised on the matter. But maybe just specifically on this matter, Advocate, are there specific reasons as to why there were delays on the matter? Well, you've indicated the steps that you've put in place to try and improve the situation, especially to ensure that matters are dealt with more efficiently, and we hope that those will yield positive outcomes. But just in terms of Magistrate Raath's matter, were there specific reasons? Because obviously delays have impacts on and some of it is also financial for that matter. But if you could just maybe give us specifics around Magistrate Raath.
So, Chair, apart from the fact that there was issues of capacity, the structure of the commission is somewhat special in a sense that the committee members are not necessarily the employees of the commission. So in order for us to know of the existence of a matter as the committee, we rely mostly on members of the ethics division who are full-time employees or staff members, if as it were, of the commission. And one of the reasons why I suspect there was a delay in this matter is that this matter just fell into the radar and was not placed before the committee once a decision was made. So that is one of the reasons. And I think the other most significant reason was that once a decision has been made, it has to be placed before the committee, and the committee has to approve it, debate it, and approve it before it goes to the commission. And there was a lot of to and fro's, as I said, in one other meeting of Parliament that delayed the matter in terms of is it approved, or is it the recommendation of the committee of the presiding officer whether it was approved or not approved? And it is as a result of that that some of the other delays resulted in this particular matter, Chair. Thank you.
Thanks, Advocate. Maybe then let us move on to the...
Yes, I don't want to point fingers. Yes, thank you, Chair.
All right. Thank you very much, Advocate. Let us then move on to the next matter. It's the matter related to Magistrate Maharaj. Over to you, Advocates. Manatha.
Thank you, Chair. Let me get my... Thank you so much, Chair. The matter of Magistrate Maharaj relates to a recommendation that has been made for his removal from office owing to ill health. Magistrate Maharaj suffered some brain injury, and as a result of which it was found that he cannot perform his duties or discharge his duties as a magistrate. He also agreed that indeed, owing to his ill health, he won't be able to perform the duties. This is despite the fact that he was still willing to act. He had a stroke in February 2020 and has not been able to return to work. And all the medical reports, at least the latest one, suggest that he is unable to do so. It is for this reason that we seek approval of the confirmation that he should be removed from office owing to ill health. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Advocate. Yeah, I think this matter seems pretty much straightforward, but on members, are there any questions for clarity that members would want to raise? Maleka, I know you mentioned through a WhatsApp that you're having problems with your gadget. Do you still want to raise a matter on this one? Okay, I think Maleka is having some problem.
Oh, okay. Chairperson.
Yeah, she's... Maleka?
Yes, Chairperson. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Chairperson. Oh, yes, Chairperson. Chairperson. Yes, I want to check with the... I don't know where because I'm trying to get a network.
Maleka, we're dealing with Magistrate Maharaj. I'm not sure. Okay, I think your network might not be very good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me now?
Yes, we can. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for clarity on the matter related to Magistrate Maharaj?
Yes, according to the report submitted to Parliament. Do you hear me, Chairperson?
We hear you.
Let me change. Okay, let me change.
Okay, I'm really not sure what is going on.
No, okay. Do you hear me now?
Yes, Maleka.
Oh, Chairperson, according to the report, that's submitted to Parliament, the Magistrate Commission duly informed Mr Maharaj of its intended investigation in writing on 24 November 2021, and Mr Maharaj, however, refused to accept personal delivery of the notice. Subsequently, according to the report, a revised letter was served on Mr Maharaj on the 8th of May 2023. Why did it take the Commission 1 year and 8 months to submit a revised letter to Mr Maharaj? I don't know whether you did hear me, Chairperson.
Yes,
got
we
my
did.
question?
Yes, we do. Thank you, Honourable
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Any other honourable member? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone. Maybe Advocate Manaka, if you could maybe respond to that. Once again, it's obviously a question related to the similar. I'm sure most of the questions would be around that. But please over to you, Advocate.
Honorable Malika is correct that it took about a year before the revised letter was sent. And back to Mr. Maharaj about his the intended removal from office. So most of these matters relate to issues of capacity. And it also relates to how I believe perhaps the Commission used to do its business, especially the committee that I'm now sitting in. So in meetings of the committee which were held regularly, one will have the agenda with 100 matters or so, divided into new matters, ill health, and so forth. And the way I see it, the meetings were limited to about an hour or 2 hours. So what would generally happen is that during the meeting, naturally, the chairperson will start with the first matters on the agenda. When the time expires of the meeting or people can't sit anymore in the meeting, they would not have covered the entire agenda or even the bulk of the matters on the agenda, because most matters are also involved. And what happens as well is that the filing system which we are working on at the Commission really was very confusing, because a matter will be reported in, for example, 2019. It will be registered as a 01 of 2019 for argument's sake. When that matter starts to be prosecuted, it moves from the new matter register and it goes to whatever other register they call it, which is perhaps they call it the 6622 register. I always get confused with that, which is what I think we're busy dealing with. So your 661 will be new matters, your 662 will be old matters. So the matter will be reported in 661, and then once the action is being taken, it's taken from the register of 661 and go to 662, but it doesn't carry its original reference. It will be, if it's registered in 2019 the first time and it's moved on 2023 the second time, the matter will then be allocated 01 of 2023. So to the reader of the matter, I mean, for all of us who are not working at the Commission, once you see a matter that recorded as 01 of 2023 and you are in Feb of 2023, you believe that is not a very important matter because it's not very old. You want to dispose of old matters, only to find that this is one of those old matters. So we're dealing with that as well. So Maharan would have fell into the category where, despite our meetings, you will recall that I only took office in 2022. And most of the members of the Ethics Committee did so at that particular time. So we were finding our feet and we were trying to get a structure in place. And this, Maharaj will be one of those matters that will be on the agenda, but which will not be reached because we couldn't make the agenda following what was done. We have now adopted a new system where in the meetings that we hold, we don't necessarily deal with new matters. We want all the matters where there are recommendations such as this one to remove due to ill health, recommendations of magistrates who are not performing, magistrates who are incompetent judgments. So matters where the suspension or the complaint itself affects the day-to-day running and the capacity of the courts and the finances of the department in dealing with them. And we're dealing with them as priority matters. So Honorable Malika, I don't have a straight answer, but what I can say is that it is how the system was originally designed, and we're working on it. So it's one of those that you will see, but there won't be attention drawn to it as to you are required to do 1, 2, 3 until we started kind of digging and say, why is this matter here? Why is that matter there? And so forth, which is what we're doing currently. I know it's not a satisfactory answer, but that's the best I can give at this moment. I hope I had at least attempted to give an explanation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Advocate. I think we'll then move on to the next matter, which is Magistrate Hinxa. Over to you, Advocate.
I think at the very outset, I must say this one, there was a long delay before I even get to the facts of the matter. And I know this is one of the matters that concerned the members of the committee, the members of the commission, the members of parliament in the other committee, and it will absolutely concern the members of this particular committee. And obviously it affected the public as well, because there were quite a few media queries based on the delay in finalizing of this matter. So this is that one matter where outright, one should say there was a inordinate delay that I'll attempt to explain, and the explanation may not be satisfactory outright, but those were the facts. So as we know, Mr Hinxa was found guilty of making sexual advances towards the complainant, and the recommendation from the chairperson or the presiding officer of the misconduct inquiry recommended that he be removed from office owing to the misconduct, because it's not befitting to hold the office of a magistrate. So when I took office, or we took office as the new committee, this matter was already on the agenda of the ethics committee. Be that as it may, once we then started to zoom in and focus on this particular matter itself and the merits, there was a debate about how the Act, that is the Magistrate Act, ought to be interpreted in terms of the role of the commission once a presiding officer has found a magistrate guilty of misconduct and has recommended a specific sanction, be it removal from office or be it any other function, but mainly where the recommendation relates to the removal from office. So when we started with this matter, it was a question of whether the commission, having received the recommendation, should simply endorse the sanction and recommend to the minister, who in turn will recommend to Parliament that the removal from office be confirmed. And having considered the act, considering that everyone on that committee is a lawyer, there were various interpretations, I think section 26, which provides that the presiding officer of a misconduct hearing, once a sanction has been recommended to the commission, must make available the record of the proceedings, the judgment and the reasons of the judgment, as well as the recommended sanction and the reasons. And also, before the commission can, or the presiding officer can finally recommend removal from office, the accused magistrate is entitled to make representations. So then a debate ensued regarding to when the act suggests that a record should be made available, does it mean the commission has to read the record, satisfy itself with the finding of the presiding officer on the merits, and then thereafter consider whether the sentence itself, as recommended, particularly removal from office, is an appropriate sentence in the circumstances of a specific matter? And that debate took quite some time, that is on the process itself and not on the substance. And eventually, after the several meetings of both the Ethics Committee and the matter being placed before the Magistrate Commission, it was indeed agreed that the Commission has an obligation, at the very least, of satisfying itself with the correctness of the findings based on the record that has been presented. And that could be the only conceivable reason why the record has to be made available to the commission and subsequently to Parliament. It took about a few months with the debates, including the round-robin debates of resolving that legal aspect. Once the legal aspect was then resolved, then some members of the commission were of the opinion that the conviction itself was not supported by objective facts that were placed before the presiding officer, and thus it should not be accepted by the commission. As a result of which, in turn, then the sentence had to be placed in abeyance. That debate again took a whole lot of a turn. The chair of the commission, because there was that division, had to write to the minister a memorandum saying the commission is divided on this issue. Some members believe that the conviction is incorrect and hence the sentence should fall. Others believe that the conviction is correct and the sentence must stand. When the minister received that particular recommendation, he then referred the matter back to the commission and indicated that it is the responsibility of the commission, legal obligation of the commission, to make a recommendation to him, and that the commission cannot take its responsibility and abdicate it towards him. And the matter then came back, and the commission once again engaged on the issue, and by majority of the members present during that meeting, it was resolved that the conviction is correct and the sentence is appropriate. Only then was the matter sent to Parliament for recommendation. So that insofar as the period, at least from 2022 to the time the matter was presented to the minister, was the cause of the delay. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Advocate Manaka. Honourable members, Honourable Mikolakis.
Well, thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning, everyone. Ms Manaka, the charges that are brought before us are of a very, very serious nature. I mean, it's sexual misconduct. And we cannot, I think you would agree, afford to have people like that on the magistrate's bench. It is very clear that there is some serious misconduct that happened over here. And I think that the commission was right in its ultimate recommendation. But in light of the seriousness of all of these charges and the substance of the charges that were brought in and he was found guilty on ultimately, how do you then justify, as the chairperson of the Ethics Committee, having voted against this recommendation that's before us in the Magistrates Commission?
Thank you, Honourable Mikolakis. Perhaps, Advocate, I think the Honourable Mikolakis also touched my issue, or to some extent. I think in terms of your explanations, you do indicate that there was this matter that was being debated by the Commission on the removal from office, dealing with process rather than on the substantive matter that is also at hand. Yeah, it is disconcerting, in terms of what is being said, and that the committee could not deal with the matter decisively. But the other issue obviously is with the 6-year delay, which I think you tried to deal with the matter. But then I think mine's more of a comment and a concern on this issue. I think you'll note, Advocate, that the president of this country had also indicated that gender-based violence is a second an epidemic in the country. So yeah, maybe if you could respond, I think, to the issue that Honourable Mikolakis has raised. Over to you, Advocate.
Thank you, Chair. Do I understand the question to be when Honourable Member is referring to me as the member of the Ethics Committee to respond why the commission, some of the commissioners did so, or why I personally did so? Because it seemed I'm a bit confused when he says you as the chair of the Ethics Committee. Just for clarity, thank you, before I respond.
Yes, yeah, Honourable Mikolakis, perhaps you could clarify that. Your hand is also up, Honourable Mikolakis.
Thank you, Chairperson. No, I'm referring to, in a personal capacity, to the chairperson of that committee. I understand she voted against this report that's before us, and I want to know how she can justify voting against this report if the charges are so serious and there's clearly a case for misconduct in which we should get rid of people making themselves guilty of such misconduct if they are magistrates. How can she personally justify her vote at the Magistrates Commission against this recommendation?
Okay, all right. Maybe Advocate, do you deal with that matter?
First of all, I think the information is incorrect. I didn't vote against the decision. I'm not sure what is the source of that information. There was a person who voted against the decision, but it was definitely not me. So that information is incorrect. Do I answer that question? Do I need to go? I don't think I need to go any further.
No, it's fine, Advocate. I think you dealt with the matter. The reason I mean, obviously, we deal with reports in front of us as a committee, but yeah, I think that's fine.
No, the debate that I posed within the Ethics Committee is the legal role as premised by the Act itself. And I facilitated their process as the chair of the Ethics Committee, dealing with, we need to act within the bounds of the law and what the law is. And that debate, the one that was carried through to the commission itself. And also, may I say, there was not a debate per se about the sanction, except the vote that took place in the commission subsequently. The debate really that that delayed is the merits, whether there was sufficient evidence on record to support the conviction. And I think members of the committee, as well as members of the commission subsequently, had agreed that once it is found that the conviction is correct, then the appropriate sentence will be the removal from office. So I think that those two issues should not be confused. So there was no issue that should the conviction be found not to be wanting, the sanction, the only reasonable and appropriate sanction in the circumstances will be removal. So I didn't understand members, except the one member, I suspect, who voted against it in the commission itself. But that was the debate. So the two issues should not be confused.
Thank you very much.
That one member was definitely not me.
Thank you very much, Advocate, for that clarity. Obviously, some of these matters are not contained in reports, but be that as it may. We'll then move on to the next matter, which is Magistrate Dyeyi.
Chair, if I may, apologies.
Oh, okay, one sec. Honorable Barnaros, sorry, I didn't see your hand. All right, Honorable Barnaros.
Chair, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity. I apologize for coming in so late. I just got a question. If the magistrate was then found guilty of misconduct if you look at the report that was presented to us, and I'm just trying to get to the right page, but it's in the report. It says in 2021 that he was found guilty of the two charges. It also says that while this mitigation process that he submitted while he was ill was continuing, he still received his full pay. So I just want to know how does that procedurally work? If somebody's found guilty of misconduct and he then submits mitigating circumstances, why is it that he continues receiving the full salary while that process is being concluded? Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Barnaros, you are speaking of the same magistrate we're dealing with now, because you mentioned ill health, but I think I understand the overall question or the principle of the question. Maybe let me then hand over to yourself, Advocate.
Yeah, and I agree, Chair, that honorable member did mention two issues, but I suspect he's referring to why is Mr. Hinxa, is still receiving a salary even after being found guilty of misconduct. And I think that is what honorable member intended to ask. So, yes. So remember, the process, honorable member, is not complete until a specific magistrate the removal itself is confirmed by Parliament, which is the reason why the Act contemplates that the process should be as soon as possible, at every level of the step. Unless the magistrate commits or delays the matter, then a recommendation can be made that the salary should be withheld pending this particular process of now confirmation of the removal from office. But unless and until that happens, the salary will be paid to the magistrate continuously, because it becomes somewhat unfair. It's like tying somebody's hands at the back and expecting them to fight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Advocate Manaka, sorry. We'll then move on to the next magistrate, Magistrate Dyeyi.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. This is also a request for the confirmation of removal from office owing to ill health. Magistrate D Nair was involved in an accident, following which he suffered some brain injury, and the occupational therapist recommended that the Magistrate D Nair should be removed from office owing to ill health, and Magistrate D Nair is incapable of performing the duties as a magistrate. And in summary, we then request that that confirmation be issued by this committee or recommended by the committee.
Thank you very much, Advocate, for that brief presentation. Our members, are they, I think it was pretty much straightforward, this matter, but are there any questions for clarity or questions? Okay, if there are none, then I propose, Advocate, we then move to the next one, which is Magistrate Govender.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and members. Ms. Govender is a magistrate who's on provisional suspension. She is being charged with dishonesty. The brief facts are that Ms. Govender has had an accused appearing before her, and the matter was postponed. After the matter was postponed, she endorsed the allegations are that she endorsed the charge sheet and acquitted the accused. In the absence of the state or the accused reappearing before court, the prosecutors took the matter on, or the matter was taken on special review. The judges queried Ms. Govender's endorsement on the charge sheet, and Ms. Govender misled the allegations. According to the judgment, Ms. Govender misled the judges to say there was a full trial when in fact there wasn't. She is on suspension pending the misconduct, and the matter is before this committee to approve and recommend, confirm the provisional suspension of Ms. Govender. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Advocate Manaka. All members?
Chair?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Chairperson? Sorry.
Yes, Justice Finger, please.
Yes, maybe just as an additional information, just as Advocate Managa has indicated that we are moving fast on some of these matters. Just to indicate that indeed disciplinary hearing was held, and there's already a finding of guilt against Ms. Govender, and we're just waiting for sanction that is scheduled in June this year. So we have moved fast on this one.
Thank you very much, Justice Finger, for the additional information. All members? I think once again, obviously, I know while you indicate that you've moved fast in the matter, it did take over 2 years now for the charge sheet and the letter of provisional suspension to be sent to Ms. Govender. Yeah, I don't know if you have specific reasons for that. Maybe if you could go into that. But obviously in that 2 year, I mean, are there any other matters that are also being looked into in which Ms. Govender might have misled information? Are there any other matters that are being looked at by the commission? Over to you, Advocate Manak.
Chair, if you may bear with me, can you please explain what you mean by any other matter? Do you mean, are there any complaints against Ms. Govender?
Yes, any other complaints? Perhaps I should rephrase it like that. Yeah.
No, not necessarily, but one of the things that we are implementing really is, like as Mr. Finger has said, trying to move as swiftly, and this is one of those examples. But also after Ms. Govender was suspended, she didn't hand over the laptop. So we are also implementing now that once a magistrate is on suspension, properties that such as a laptop, which are a tool of trade, should be returned to the court because they belong to the government. And one of what happened in Ms Govender's case is that she had refused to give the laptop back and was dilly-dallying, saying it's not here, it's there, and so forth. And we then took a decision that if Ms. Govender, as the committee, of course, that if Ms. Govender is not going to return that laptop, we are going to recommend to the commission as well as the department open a criminal case so that the police can go and physically get that particular laptop. A letter was addressed to her, and the following day she returned the laptop. So we are really doing our best to do what is possible in all the circumstances. Thank you,
Chair.
But there are no other criminal cases I know of which are investigated apart from this one, unless they are received by the commission but not yet placed before the ethics committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Hinxa can assist in that regard.
Chairperson, I'm still trying to, I think I'm so much used to Teams now. I'm still trying to see how I raise my hand. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to figure out. Just to also indicate that the Ethics Committee has, in the last meeting in February, resolved to do what we call a quality assurance work on the Ms. Govender's judgments for the period that she was in office. And this will really just assist us to ensure that everyone that appeared before her received justice, so to speak. So that report we're expecting by the end of May. So that is something.
Okay. Now, please continue. I think somebody was unmuted in the background. Mr. Finger?
Okay, no, I was saying in regards to that, what the Ethics Committee resolved to do as at end of February was to commission what we call a quality assurance report. So this is someone that goes to that court and basically go through all the judgments of Ms. Govender to ensure that every accused that appeared before her received justice, so to speak. So that report, we're expecting it by end of May. So that will also assist us ensuring that at least justice was served. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for the responses. Advocate Mnaka, I think we'll then move on to the next matter, which is Magistrate Singh. Advocate.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Before I present Singh, I think as Mr. Finger speaks, I'm reminded of the steps that we are taking to expedite all the matters and the answer. And one of the most important steps that we have commissioned is to do a file audit, starting from 2018, 3 years back and 3 years forward, so that we can see all these files that perhaps we can put our fingers on as the committee and start to deal with them and expedite them. I thought that's an important, and the commission has authorized and signed it, so the department will be engaged to assist in that regard. I thought I should make that point. Mr. Singh's matters. So there were various complaints against Mr. Singh dating back to 2015. The charges against Mr. Singh dates back to 2016, at least those that he is aware of. Of course, the charge sheet does say to him there might be more. Mr. Singh is being charged with having an undue relationship with the first politically, as well as members of the Crime Intelligence Unit. He is also charged with threatening 2 journalists, so those will be 2 separate charges. And those 2 charges relating to the journalists are recent. They came about in 2023. Mr. Singh has been placed on provisional suspension pending the outcome of the misconduct processes, and the matters are before this committee, or data is before this committee to confirm the provisional suspension. Thank you, Chair. And this is, perhaps let me put this point, can I put this point across? This is one of those matters, as I said, the complaints are from 2015, 2016, and you'll see the charge sheet deals with 2016, 2017 complaints. And when we took office, we did find that although complaints will come in against one magistrate, they were dealt with separately and by different members of the ethics division. One of the measures that we have put in place in order to prioritize these matters is to consolidate all the complaints that relate to one magistrate so that they can be dealt with by one person and they can be investigated together to expedite them. And Mr. Singh's matter is one of those matters that we have consolidated all the complaints against him. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Advocate. I think you responded to the question I was going to ask. Is there any other member that has a question? Obviously, I was concerned with regard to the other matters that date as far back as 2018 that were pending against Mr. Singh, and whether this was, did the Commission only act now after the article in the Daily Maverick in 2023? But I think you've responded to my question, where you provided clarity around that matter. Honourable members, is there any other member? All right, if not, we'll then move on to the next magistrate, Magistrate Bodlani. Over to yourself once again, Advocate Manaka.
Thank you, Honourable Chair and members. Mr. Bodlani is on provisional suspension already. The matter is very narrow before the committee. The matter, whilst he is on provisional suspension, there was a judgment calling upon him and the prosecutors to reconstruct a certain judgment. And initially, it was thought that the suspension has to be uplifted in order for Ms. Bodlani to, at least for the road of the reconstruction of the record. The record has not yet been reconstructed because Mr. Bodlani is of the view that he needs an official correspondence telling him to come and reconstruct the record, and that such correspondence should go through the attorneys. We had inquired how long it will take to reconstruct the record, and on the previous occasion, Mr. Bodlani had undertaken it won't take more than 2 weeks. So our request is to uplift the suspension, perhaps for a period of 1 week, 5 working days, to make provision for any uncertainties and unseen circumstances that may prevent them from finishing the reconstruction within the intended period. And thereafter, the suspension will be restored again automatically. Thank you, Chair.
Once again, thanks, Advocate. Honourable members? Okay, just to then get it clear, you're saying that the timeline for the upliftment of the suspension would be for 1 week. All right. Okay, it's fine. Just an issue, are you sure that the matter will be dealt with, the reconstruction of the record, etc., will be dealt with within that week? That would just be my question. Thanks.
It has to, yes, thank you, Honorable Chairperson. It has to, given her undertaking that the portion of the record that requires reconstruction will take her 2 days.
All right.
So if the Honorable Committee is so inclined, it can extend it. So my thinking was maybe a week should be enough if their estimate was 2 days. But it should also be clear on the upliftment that it is only for purposes of reconstructing that record and nothing else. I may also say that Bodlani is on paid suspension. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Advocate, for the clarity. Our members will then move on to the next agenda item, which is in relation to progress reports with regard to 3 other magistrates. I think obviously, Advocate, you take us through the reports, but there would be a concern that would obviously come forward because you're aware that in terms of Section 33F of the Act, the Commission is required to report to Parliament once per quarter on provisionally suspended magistrates. And there has been that gap in reporting to us, and I would imagine also to the National Assembly. I think from the 18th of August 2021 to the 28th of November 2023. Perhaps you could also deal with that issue as well. Maybe give us reasons for this lengthy gap in reporting. If you could perhaps cover that issue as well. Maybe then, Advocate Manaka, if you could then deal with Magistrate Nair. And probably with just also the broader issue as well. Over to you, Advocate.
Apologies, I'm just looking for the specific one. So, Chair, may I ask you, you mentioned a specific date within which a report was not given. You said 18 August 2021 to which date? I just missed the latter date where the report was not provided.
It was to the 28th of November 2023. I think it's been a while since the Magistrates Commission has actually appeared before the committee, especially in relation to progress reports.
Yes. In fact, this is my first Honorable Chair to appear on progress report. But can I make a general statement insofar as the dates are concerned, and then I'll deal with specific matters if it's okay with the Honorable Chair and the members?
Please continue.
So, thank you, Chair. The period from, so I knew that a report had to be provided to Parliament, and a draft would often be given to me, at least because, in fact, there was first a dispute, rather, if I may put it that way, of who needs to appear, because there seemed to have been a pattern previously of who appears before Parliament. And with that debate, I've always been knowing, at least from the Act and from the DM himself, that the chairperson of the Ethics Committee, I'm told, has been or was supposed to be the one appearing. With that in mind, when a draft report such as the one that I'm going to present before this committee is done, I've always looked back to what was reported to the committee and what was proposed to be reported to the committee. And I somewhat took a position that it really doesn't help to come to the committee and report one and the same thing over and over again in the same pattern and not even say what is the progress in the matters. So in the midst of getting the committee together, trying to get the system working and drafting this report, I want to take the blame for the delay from the period that I was in office, because I've always taken a stance that the report should be very informative. It must actually give progress and not be a rhetoric of what was presented, because then it undermines the process and it undermines the listener. And that, because of work, I think fell in the cracks whilst I'm doing other things in my work too. And I want to take the blame for not presenting this particular report for the period, at least from, it should be 2022 June until the secretary assisted in presenting it. So I will take the total blame, because I'm the one who was supposed to present the particular a report, and should have facilitated and made sure that it is done. With that in mind, I will then continue to present the reports, and I will welcome questions on each and every matter. So I seem to think that, Chair, we will follow the same processes in terms of I present one matter and then await questions.
I think, yes, please, Advocate.
Should I perhaps ask for questions on the explanation of the general explanation on the lack of submission of a report for the period?
No,
so
no,
that when I
please
get to the matter, we deal with the matter.
No, please continue with your presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, do you want me to read the entire?
I think on this one, maybe deal with all three advocates, given that it's just progress on their matters, and then we'll take questions for if there are any from honourable members.
Yes. Should I read the entire report or just give the summaries? I just need a direction from the Chair.
I think you can summarize it. Members already have the reports.
And let me start with the one for, sorry, for Mr. Nair. As members would have seen from the report, the misconduct charges against Mr. Nair relate to the period of 2016, where he asked for or received a specific favor or dispensation of benefit from BUSASA to the approximate value of 200,000. Mr. Nair was suspended from office on 24 February 2022, and the suspension is with a full salary. The NCOP confirmed, as well as the National Assembly and the NCOP confirmed the provisional suspension on 12 March and 20 June, respectively. In this matter, 2 regional court magistrates were appointed to lead evidence and 1 to preside over the misconduct. The matter commenced on 30 October 2022, that is the misconduct. And the set down was on 21 December 2022. In a letter dated 9 November 2022 from Mr. Nair's attorneys to the Commission, They indicated that they're being appointed by PSA and will be representing Mr. Nair during the hearing. The inquiry itself commenced on 29 March 2021, and Mr. Nair briefed a senior counsel who raised an objection, which is a point in limine against the validity of the charges of misconduct instituted against Mr. Nair. His counsel submitted substantive heads where after the PLE requested a postponement to prepare the heads of argument. The postponement was granted and the hearing was due to sit on 7 June 2021. The PLE submitted her heads and the matter was, the legal team of Mr. Nair had to reply on 29 August 2021. Then there was a provisional date set by the presiding officer to consider both heads of argument and which were raised by the parties. The inquiry was postponed to 23 November 2021. Then the presiding officer was recommended to be a judge in the High Court. And the parties were of the view that he would be, so it had to be agreed because a presiding officer has to be a magistrate, but the parties agreed that the presiding officer is still competent to proceed to preside over the misconduct hearing. The matter was postponed to November 2021. The matter could not proceed on that day and was postponed again to January 2022 for oral argument on the point in limine which was raised. The point in limine was argued and the inquiry was postponed to March 2022 for the presiding officer's ruling. On the 31st of March 2022, the presiding officer dismissed the point in limine. The matter was postponed to 4, 5, and 11 of July 2022 to accommodate the presiding officer for the leading of evidence. 2 witnesses testified and were extensively cross-examined on these days. The inquiry was postponed to 5 to 9 December 2022 for further evidence. The Commission's third evidence presented his evidence on 6 December 2022 and was partly cross-examined on 6 and 7. The matter was postponed to 10 March 2023 for further cross-examination of the witnesses. The matter did not proceed on that day due to unexpected unavailability of the presiding officer. The matter was then postponed to 5 July 2023 and 19 and 20 September 2023, indicating that he prefers to attend to the inquiry during the recess because he was a judge. The presiding officer indicated that he preferred the matter to be dealt with during the recess of the High Court. Counsel for Mr. Nair concluded the cross-examination of the third witness on 5 July 2023. The PLE, the person leading evidence, applied for her next witness to testify virtually and for the inquiry to be conducted at the Commission's offices for this purpose. This was due to ill health and immobility of the witness, the said witness. There was an objection from Mr. Nair's representative, and the PLE, the presiding officer requested the person leading evidence to submit the application in writing, which was filed on 31st July 2023. The inquiry was then postponed to September 2023 for further evidence. And should the presiding officer rule in favor of the Commission's last witness to testify. On 14 September 2023, the PLE advised that due to Mr. Nair's late inquiries relating to this issue, the attorney for the witnesses informed that they had not been able to obtain instructions from him concerning his queries. Furthermore, the venue which was utilized ever since the commencement of the inquiry was said to be no longer available. There was no time to secure an alternative venue on this short notice. The inquiry therefore did not proceed and was postponed to 1st to 5 April 2024 during the recess of the court. The presiding officer was not available for the sitting in April, and the matter has now been postponed to 5 July. Sorry. Yeah, the matter was postponed until 1st April 2024. I'll ask Mr. Finger just to fill up the commission on what happened on the 1st of April to 5 April 2024. Thank you, Chair.
Yes. So, Chair, I think this matter really, there are two issues for the delay. One is the judge who can only assist us during recess. I must say I've engaged with the chairperson of the commission just to see whether he cannot facilitate a discussion where the judge president cannot be engaged, so that this matter should be finalized. Because if you're going to sit on recess, really it takes its time. But the second issue is that you've seen the points in limines that are always raised, and there's always a postponement for another term for ruling. There was even an objection to hear evidence on virtual, for example, where it was an objection. Recently, there was also an objection on a venue for the commission, that the hearing cannot be held at the commission. So what happened in the last, from the first, like Advocate Managa indicated, the April sitting, there was an application for absolution from instance. Obviously, from our side, we were saying this is a disciplinary matter. We've never heard of such an application. Anyway, they proceeded to make their arguments, and the matter has been postponed to the September recess, unfortunately, again, because the judge is only available then. So that is only then that we'll hear a ruling. So it is a problem, but we'll see how we try to engage with the presiding officer going forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Advocate Manaka, are you going to just take us through all of them? Oh, okay, but since we've paused, let me just see. Okay, there are no hands that have been raised. Members, do you have any issue? We know the progress, obviously, but the concern, I think, which you addressed earlier with regard to why progress wasn't reported to the committee earlier, I think you've covered that. I'm not seeing any hands, then perhaps let us move to the next magistrate. Advocate Manaka. It's a...
Thank you so much, Chair. Is it Mr Nzimande?
Yes, I was trying to get the program again, yes.
The name.
Nzimande.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Mr Nzimande, of course, there has always been an issue relating to either the presiding officers and or the persons leading evidence. Initially in this matter, there were magistrates, regional magistrates who were appointed, and there was an agreement to have senior counsel from the NPA who will assist as persons leading evidence. That arrangement fell through, and because of his seniority, also following the retirement of the magistrates who are appointed to preside and or those who are appointed to lead evidence, then the commission had a sitting agreeing that perhaps a judge should be able to be appointed and be the person leading evidence, and that counsel should be appointed. Sorry, the judge should be the presiding officer, and the counsel, person leading evidence should be outsourced to counsel. That happened. There was a bit of a glitch in administrative processes of appointing a judge as a presiding officer, which took a little while. And subsequently, after a judge was appointed to lead evidence and a senior counsel and a junior counsel were appointed to lead the evidence, there was a little bit of a delay in reporting to the commission by the counsel as to what they were doing and the progress of the matter. Then as members of EXCO, we called the person leading evidence, the senior counsel and a junior counsel, to come and brief the commission, to brief us on the progress they've made and when the matter will commence. And it then appeared during that meeting that not much progress has been made in trying to prosecute this particular matter. In that meeting, then a decision was taken to remove, also for financial purposes, to save the cost, considering the work that was done at that particular moment, to remove a senior counsel and appoint the second junior counsel to assist with leading evidence. This is all last year. When the two counsel were appointed to lead evidence, then there was a dispute amongst them relating to seniority, and that affected the progress of the matter. At the beginning of the year, the commission then decided that because of the dispute between them, which affects the prosecution of the matter, another senior counsel should be appointed. Another senior counsel was then appointed this year at the beginning, and the matter, there was a pre-trial which was held for the first time, and the case is now postponed for hearing. It was for hearing last week. 3 witnesses have been led. The 3rd witness is on the stand under cross-examination. She was cross-examined last week, and the matter has been postponed to 10 to 14 June 2024 for further cross-examination of the witness and further evidence by the commission. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Members.
Thank you very much, Advocate Manaka. Our members, any questions on this matter? Okay, if there are none, we'll then move on to the next magistrate. Advocate Manaka, the next, is it Mkansi? Magistrate Mkansi.
I can deal with Mkansi quickly. This is also one of those very old matters which basically do not have any good progress report on. Mr. Mkansi consistently brings applications to court to interdict this or that on these particular processes. There was another application of a review application that was launched by him, which was not prosecuted in 2022. Subsequent to that, as the committee, we then looked at the matter and saw how the delay is, in our view, owing to Mr. Mkansi basically bringing more applications that he then subsequently withdraws. We then took a decision that because Mr. Mkansi is suspended with a full salary, we will write to him and ask him to give reasons why we should not, as the committee, recommend to the commission that the salary should now be withheld pending finalization of the matter. Mr. Mkansi wrote back to us and saying he was not the sole cause of the delay and that on one occasion or two, the person leading evidence was indisposed due to ill health and therefore that the blame cannot be put squarely on him. The matter, Mr. Mkansi has since also been criminally charged, and his criminal case will be appearing before the Bloemfontein court on the 19th, or appeared rather, on 19 to 21 February 2021. With regard to the misconduct itself, the presiding officer in Mr. Mkansi's matter has retired but is being appointed on an acting basis to finalize this particular matter. And despite his pending review applications that he is now not prosecuting, the commission stance is that the matter should proceed and that the person leading evidence should actually approach the presiding officer with a date for further hearing of the matter. The person leading evidence has indicated that their availability is around July of 2024. So we expect that between now and then, the matter would be set down, and then by July, the trial will start. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Advocate.
Thank you, Chair, honorable members.
That was the last magistrate that we were meant to deal with today. On members, if there's any question for clarity or any comments, okay, then just a comment from my side, Advocate and the Secretary of the Commission. Obviously, the provisional suspensions do have a serious impact on the fiscus. And I think while you explained these matters, you provide explanations for delays, especially from the magistrates themselves. But obviously, the speedy resolution of these matters is of interest to the committee. I thought I needed to just make that comment, seeing that there's no member that wants to ask any additional question or comment. Or members, I think we've come to the end of the session with the commission. Let me thank the chair of the ethics committee and the secretary of the commission for the presentations that were made to the committee, as well as your responses to members on the various reports. We would want to encourage the commission to address any challenges in a much more speedier finalization of the matters that relate to the magistrates. Obviously, you have put in place certain mechanisms and processes to try and address delays that have been occurring with regard to matters relating to these magistrates, or to magistrates in general, or magistrates that are accused of misconduct. We hope that these measures you've put in place actually bear fruit, and obviously, I think the next term Parliament, it's something that we would go into our report, especially for the next term Parliament. And also, we would want to ensure that I think in future the Commission presents progress report timelessly to the committee. And this is something else that would go into our legacy report so that the next Parliament could then deal with these matters. I should also indicate, Advocate Manaka and the Secretary to the Commission, that in a previous engagement with the Portfolio Committee on Justice, we had undertook to meet with the Chair of the Commission, especially in relation to some of the challenges that were coming forth from the Ethics Committee with regard to these matters. However, the meeting didn't necessarily take place, but obviously I think it's something that we will also put into our legacy report, perhaps for the next Parliament, to then also engage in a much more intense and interactive manner with the Commission on some of these matters. With that said, let me then thank you for your appearance to the committee. we don't necessarily have such a lengthy meeting with yourself. We tend to at most deal with 3 magistrates matters, but be that as it may, we had to catch up with all the issues. You note that our term is also coming to an end, so obviously we wanted to finalize these matters, and we are expected in terms of legislation to speedily address these matters on our side as well. Thank you very much, Advocate Manaka and Justice Finger, for your attendance of this meeting. You can be released for now.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, honorable members.
You're muted, Advocate Manaka.
Thank you, Chair and honorable members, for inviting us and giving us a hearing. We do take that we will make improvements and we will certainly provide reports timeously. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On members, just in terms of our agenda, we were meant to deal with the adoption of minutes. Okay, I see Gershwin is already projected the first set of minutes. On members, I'm going to request Gershwin then to take us through the minutes to try and summarize it, Gershwin, with regard to the minutes dated the 25th of January 2024. Gershwin, over to yourself.
Morning, Chairperson and members. And yes, Chair, I'll try and summarize. This is the first set of minutes, the 25th of January 2024, and the committee dealt with the public submissions for the Divorce Amendment Bill, and then also the briefing by the Department of Justice on the public submissions received for the Cannabis for Private Purposes Bill. Chairperson, members have already received the minutes, so if there's any corrections, members can just advise at the end. I'm just going to go through the apologies. We had Mr. Dango apologize, and then in terms of the membership, as you can see, it was only Mr. Dango's apology. Everyone else was present, Chair. And then yes, Chairperson is dealing with the matters before the committee, and I'm going to hand back to you, Chair. It really was a summary of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Gershwin. On members, are there any additions or corrections you would want to make to the minutes? And if there are none, then if there's a member who would want to move for the adoption of the minutes? Okay, I take it that there's Honorable Barnanos.
Yeah, I'll move for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Barnanos. Is there any seconder for the adoption of the minutes? Honorable Maleka, seconded. Okay, thank you very much, honorable members. The report is duly adopted. Can we then move on to the next set of minutes? Dated 14th of February.
Yes, Chair. The 14th of Feb, Chairperson, we dealt with briefing by the Department of Police on the IPID Amendment Bill, committee consideration and adoption of the Divorce Amendment Bill, the consideration and adoption of the committee report on the Divorce Amendment Bill, and the briefing by the Department of Justice on the National Prosecuting Authority Amendment Bill, and the submissions that were received on the bill, Chair. I'm just going to go to the attendance, Chair. Apologies, Mr. Dango and Mr. Barden have sent apologies, and it's duly recorded in the minutes, Chairperson. I'm going to stop there, Chair, and hand back to you in terms of the rest, Chairperson.
Thank you very much once again, Gershwin. Our members, once again, are there any additions and or corrections that you would want to make to these minutes? Okay, if there are none, is there any member who would want to move for the adoption of the minutes?
I move for the adoption of the minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mutsamai. Any seconded? Members, is there any seconder for the adoption of the minutes? Okay, Maleka, seconds. Okay. Maleka seconded. Is there any objections? Sorry, these are minutes. Okay, thank you very much, all members. The minutes are then duly adopted. We'll then move to the next set of minutes, which is dated 21st of February 2024. Gershwin?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. On the 21st of February 2024, the committee dealt with a briefing by the Department of Justice on the National Prosecuting Authority Amendment Bill and the submissions that were received on the bill. The committee deliberated on the Cannabis for Private Purposes Bill. And then we have the summary of what took place, Chairperson. And then in terms of the apologies, Ms Dlamini and Mr Dango apologized, and that's duly recorded, Chairperson. Thank you.
Once again, thank you very much, Gershwin. On members, any corrections, any additions to the minutes? Okay, if there are none, is there any member that would want to move?
I move on.
Thank you very much,
Second, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Bartlett, for seconding. I think that being said, all members, the minutes are duly adopted. All members, we've come to the end of the meeting. I know that all honourable members are very busy with other programs of their various organizations. Let me thank you once again for your attendance to this meeting. And just note that in our next meeting, we'll then deal with the adoption of the reports related to the magistrates matters. And also, I think in our next meeting, we'll also be dealing with the legacy report of the committee. Thank you very much, all members. This meeting has come to an end. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson.